Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's match between AngryLarry, also known as Lair Bear, and our very own JamEviler from the Zelda 1 Randomizer Tournament Championship. Hope you all are doing fantastic this evening. Give me just a moment. I got amazing Ampharos going to join me here on comms in just a second, and then we will get started. And welcome, Ampharos. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Are we live?
We are live. I am going to go ahead and drop out and give these guys the good go.
I don't know about you, but I'm expecting a fairly competitive race between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, AngryLarry is very good at this game, but JamEviler is no slouch at all. He's definitely put in a ton of practice and is pretty good at all keys, so does have those skills to transfer over.
Yeah, I look at Jam. He's not really particularly dedicated to Z2R compared to his vast gaming experience, but he does have vast gaming experience and a very high talent level. Larry's really put in the hours on Zelda 2 Randomizer, though, so it's interesting to see how those sort of matchups play out.
Yes, indeed. And we do have a start, so we will see them going here just very shortly. But hopefully you all are doing very well tonight. Thank you for joining us here. We do have another race coming up right after this one, so make sure that you stick around for that. It will be on a different channel, but we will point you in the correct direction. And we've got to go.
And as is usually the case, the first town discovery does not have anything they need.
And right away, Grand Palace find.
I've always noticed the West has 5 town entrances, if you include both ends of Saria, but I swear the first one you find is one of the 2 that require an item, or the incorrect end of Saria, about 90% of the time.
Yep, seems about
Though
right.
Jam has located the town of Raru.
Yeah, and a magic
which
container.
will get him his first spell of the match. Meanwhile, Larry has found the first magic container, which is always a really good find, not just because you could need it in various ways, but early in the game, there's a lot of spells that are likely to cost between 64 and 80.
Yeah, definitely a good find here.
It looks like we have the jump spell for the fairly cheap magic 1 cost to 29. Jump doesn't do a lot for you, but it does mean that if Jam locates the town of Mido, he'll be able to pick up Downstab right away, which tends to be very powerful in this game. Meanwhile, Larry's having a little trouble with this red Dyra. Red Dyras are not really that easy at 1-1-1 or something close to that, but they can be worth up to 200 experience, so this could give him a big leg up once he gets the kill. Even the 100 it gave was pretty worthwhile.
Yes, indeed. Sorry about that. Just fixed a couple of things, but yeah, we had a jump spell there for Jam, and a magic container in the grass tile for Larry, who now finds the medicine inside of the should be the medicine cave actually.
That's interesting. That means they're both looking for the town of Mido for different reasons right now, though. Hopefully, for both their sakes, they'll find what the other has before they find Mido. Looks like Larry's going the right general direction to find Raru. Jam, I do not believe, is going the right direction to find the medicine. Could be wrong about that.
Yeah, an early Duff Mountain exploration here for Larry. I guess just peeking a little bit. We did have a seed the other night.
Yeah, especially with the candle at the start, which we have on these flags. It can often be good to do just a little Death Mountain peeking. It's not that hard for players of this caliber to look around, and if you find the Hammer Cave right by the start, it could be a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. And like we had a seed just last night where the very first cave you went into was actually the item cave, which had the hammer, which actually opened up the seed. So never hurts to peek around a little bit. And Jam does find the medicine cave, so he's going to have both the medicine and jump available for when he does find Mido.
And meanwhile, Larry has found jumps, so he's in the same boat. The two players have more or less synchronized. They it's a classic randomizer thing where they did things in completely different orders, but arrived at the exact same place.
Yeah, and Jam again showing his all keys experience here with the red dyer there, just not giving him any trouble whatsoever.
So it's not immediately obvious which direction they have to go to really make progress in this seed. So it'll be interesting to see who takes a cave or finds an obscure path first.
Yeah, and very well could be just one of those, the jump cave or short cave or anything like that could lead to the rest of the items that they're looking for. So we'll, like you said, see who takes a cave first. Seems like Larry's got a little bit...
I don't know if did either of them take that bridge in the northeast?
I don't believe so. It does seem like Larry has maybe a little bit of an exploration advantage here thus far, and he is going to take this cave and see where it leads.
Though a key difference you notice as well, when Larry killed that red Dyra in the medicine cave, he chose to take life 3. Jam declined life 3, and then walked out of the medicine cave to hold his experience, clearly trying to build toward attack 2. Now, I think most people would agree that attack 2 is more valuable than life 3, but the time to walk out of that cave was an investment.
Yeah, again, Jam is pretty versed on all keys, and so low life levels is not something he's completely foreign to. And so, I don't think he'll have too much of an issue. But as he said, it is a time investment. But attack 2, I think, is probably more valuable than life 3 early on. And back to that bridge that you were talking about, it looks like we're going to have Larry cross it and see what we end up with on the north side here.
There's probably a cave that leads up here as well, but the bridge would certainly seem to be the simple way to make some more progress. Meanwhile, we see the raft spot over there in the Great Dig Shake Swamp.
Yeah, the peatbag cave here for Larry after heading through the bridge, so made a correct choice here. We'll see what he finds. Oh, and he ups and A's without getting the attack too, so unfortunate for Jam there.
Meanwhile, that peatbag cave turned out to be what it was advertised as Larry gets his attack too, meaning at this point in the match, Larry has not only a clear exploration advantage, but also his levels are strictly superior, 2-1-3 versus 1-1-2. Which it's easy to just say, that's not that much experience, but the early levels are, in my opinion, some of the most important ones to get, because they just make the biggest difference in terms of what you can practically do.
Yeah, it definitely sets the pace for the seed. Definitely. I mean, there's been times where I've watched some people and they get stuck with like 1-1-2 or whatever, trying to get to that attack 2, and it just doesn't happen. It could cost you 5 or 10 minutes over the course of a seed if that happens.
There we see the other end of Jump Cave, confirming you could have gone through the Jump Cave to get up here if you hate bridges or something, but the bridge is clearly much faster than the 3-screen Jump Cave.
And a heart container cave here for AngryLarry as well, so made the correct choice, but Jam is right behind. Hopefully there will not be a heart container in here, as that would make us 3 for 3 for not being shuffled. I'm sorry, this is the... That's the heart container cave. It's magic container cave, and it has a pea bag, so far 2 pea bags, but attack 3 here for Larry already.
Honestly, I would be much happier in Larry's position to find that 500 pea bag than to find something like a heart container. Gives you that early level, and
yeah, I totally agree. I have no qualms. Sometimes even ducking into the forest tiles looking for a pea bag as an early attack 3, and sometimes even you get up to attack 4 is super valuable early on in the seed.
It's kind of one of those understated effects. When Dig Shake added the 3 pea bag caves to the shuffle, at first it's like, oh, more bad items, but you're likely to find more pea bags as items, including big 500 bags in the Western continent, which means that early game leveling can go a couple different ways than it used to.
Yeah, definitely. And Jam should find the same cave here in just a moment, and I believe he'll be pretty close. He should be able to get, I think, 3-1-2, so pretty close to evening up the levels here.
Yeah, though another issue that's really a lot more pressing than leveling strategy is that we seem to be at an impasse here across the bridge.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to take
Larry ducking
cave.
into that forest tile, clearly just looking for Bagoo.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting if we do have it where there is a Bagoo requirement to get to the front end of Saria. Which is what it's looking like here.
We've seen the back end of the fairy cave, I know, so that could also be the answer. I don't know if we've seen Parapa Cave or not. Are you, do you know about that one way or another?
I don't think we have, but I could be incorrect. I've been trying to monitor the other things at the same time, so I'm not always watching the screen, but I don't think we have, but there has to be a way around. I think Bagoo would be the coolest way, honestly, but it's usually not the only way to get out of the starting area here. And Jim
so
does
equal levels. It looks like Larry's pretty committed to the search for Bagoo plan.
Jim,
which it's not a bad strategy, because that Bagoo connection is going to be more convenient to take than the other caves, and for that matter, it gets you a spell on your path.
Yeah, Jam ducking into... I'm not familiar with what that cave is, but that is one of the pass-through caves. I think that was the front end of Jump Cave.
Yes, that's correct. The front end of Jump Cave is on the north side of the river. We've already seen the back of Jump Cave on the south side of the river, so we know that cave is nothing but a way to avoid bridges.
So we'll see what choice Jem makes here. If he starts looking for Bagoo as well, or what he chooses to do. Because I think, like you are correct in that we are in a little bit of a location here where they've got to find a way to find something new. And that was the back end of Jump Cave. And Larry is going to up an A and search for some options elsewhere.
I'm not entirely convinced Bagoo is accessible right now. I think the back end of Fairy Cave might be the only option. We've also seen Death Mountain, and while you never want this to be true, Death Mountain as a connector could possibly be required.
That would be fantastic. Only because I'm the one that rolled the seed, and that would make me so happy.
Oh, here's the back end of... Yeah, this is the Fairy Cave, and that one in the north must have been Parapa Cave, so they have both of them available right now.
Alright, so Jam gonna take Jump Cave here.
Yeah, Larry's actually taking the Fairy Cave. I think he pretty well established Bagu isn't down here. At least it looked to me like he checked all the forest tiles.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he did, and Jam checked most of them too, so... again, pretty equal on information. It's just Larry's just a tad bit ahead on the exploration.
Oh, man. That's where Fairy Cave leads?
Wow!
So it's gotta be Parapa Cave or Death Mountain. Like, Jam's working at Jump Cave, but he has nothing but disappointment waiting for him on the other end of this cave.
So far, this has proven to be fantastic. I wish either of them had a camera available right now. Unfortunately, they do not. I love seeing facial expressions as people try to figure things out.
Though, okay, Larry is making his way toward Parapa Cave, and the one advantage of Jam having gone through Jump Cave is it will dump him out right next to Parapa Cave.
And he ducks in, but doesn't
So
take it. So does Larry. Okay, so they're thinking
Do
the
they
same
know
thing.
something we don't?
I don't think so. Unless there's, I don't know.
Like, if they've seen the other side of Parapa Cave and we just both missed it, that would make some sense, but... Like,
Bagu!
I like to take... Oh, did we find Bagu?
Yeah, Jam found Bagu. He's just down south of the or north of the Grand Palace, so that must be the answer.
Oh, that's harsh. It looked like Larry hunted really thoroughly for him, but he just missed a forest tile.
Yeah, he should find it
Two
here pretty
forest
quick.
tiles, it turns out.
Man, that's rough, though. That's a big deal. Gives Jam a bit of a lead here.
This is assuming that the other end of Saria is anywhere useful.
That's
which
true.
It probably is, but we don't know that.
Dumps itself into its own little valley. That would be fantastic. So a bit of a rough early start here so far in the seed. Larry still trying to figure out where to go. I know that GP is just south of start, so it shouldn't be too hard to find Bagu. He just missed the tile, apparently.
It's easy to do that to yourself on easy locations, though. You mentally check an area off, like, oh, there's just GP down there. And then you just never go back, you know? You keep thinking it must be in a progressively worse place, and that can really cost you time going to far corners of the map when there's just nothing there.
Yeah, I have that happen a lot, so I fully understand what's going on here. You kind of tunnel vision on, where haven't I been to find what I'm looking for, instead of where have I been that I might have missed something. And he gets Reflect out of Saria, so that's a good spell to find for sure.
Yeah, extremely likely to be required, only not required if it's paired with fire. Definitely a load off your mind. Did you catch the cost to Reflect?
71. So
Well, with the magic container, it probably doesn't matter. But it's always a big question whether you can cast it. Meanwhile, Larry is going into Death Mountain. He might be convinced this is the only way to progress. No, it is not a guarantee Death Mountain even connects.
Yeah, that's also true. And we do find the other 3
so
or 6
he
palace.
could dead end himself right here.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case. And Jam does find the other 3 or 6. So far, well, obviously nothing useful. It's 3, 6, and GP on Western Continent.
So it does look like this area that Saria led Jam to is pretty open. So he can probably reach most of the rest of the major objectives on this side. Like right here's Mido. This is going to give Jam a huge leg up. He's going to get downstab and a 3rd spell all in one trip. And it's honestly pretty rare in the randomizer to be able to do Mido in one trip.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, Zarnak's making a good point. If it does so happen that maybe that the raft is in Death Mountain, that could be a big deal. But I think by the time he finds the raft, that Jam will have explored the majority of this up here, and will have that information himself.
At this point, Larry kind of has to hope that Death Mountain gives him something he needs. He found a path to the boulder. He can't use it right now, but that could be useful knowledge for later. It's right by a four-way, too. Or no, that's not a four-way. That's this thing. I don't know what to call any of the caves in Death Mountain. Meanwhile, Thunder Spell. We could have one of those seeds where you get all the required item or required spells pretty early. Well, Larry finds the Hammer Cave. Little does Larry know, this is a big moment in this race.
Where was the Thunder Spell at?
Thunder Spell was in Mido.
Gotcha. All right. Sorry.
So Jam has picked up Thunder.
Yeah, so Thunder for Jam and the cave, the item cave found for Larry here in Death Mountain fairly quickly, actually. So we'll see if this nets him something positive.
Larry on his last life, having a pretty epic battle with these monsters here in Hammer Cave. This is a pretty dangerous cave, especially to do all in one go.
What is it
with
that
no
Jam
down
just picked up?
stab and low levels?
I missed what Jam just picked up. What was that?
That was the raft.
The raft. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, he's got a very big advantage right now.
Larry really needs this to not be the cross.
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
Something
he
like
needs
a
it.
glove or
Glove or magic key, boots maybe.
Required boots would work. A spell item that leads to fairy. Something. The trophy that gives you fairy would actually be a really nice way for him to escape this, because then he could just ferry across Zarya.
Yes, indeed.
I guess at the very least he'll have Life 4 as a consolation prize here.
Yeah, that hopefully won't mess up his leveling, but could.
Oh, just a heart.
Unfortunate. Yeah, all that work, all he has to do is go south if he just realizes that he might be smacking his head when he does find Bagoo.
He could just... I still think the Parapa Cave might be another option. So if he would just tried that, that might give him a plan B out of here.
And the kid...
Crossing this bridge, though, I think we've pretty well confirmed is not going to get him out of the starting area.
That is correct, and the...
Meanwhile, Jam finds himself the child.
Yeah, kid in Trophy Cave.
As far as items are concerned, Jam's a glove away from probably just not worrying about items anymore.
Yeah, unless there's some off chance that an item is needed for a spell. Actually, no, he's got. Well, he still might need fairy. It's never necessarily required, but it's highly likely that it's needed, and obviously has no way to get through any key doors right now without fairy or a key, magic key. So, kind of looking around for one of those two things.
Yeah, it's just usually you feel pretty confident assuming fairy is going to be anywhere but that one town. Q fairy being in that one town. But right now, Jam has the necessary items to get 7 of the 8 spells, depending on the topography of the eastern continent, of course. Jam's still looking around in the north. I think he's found everything up here, and might as well up A back to that raft spot.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's a wise choice to head over to the eastern continent. Meanwhile, Larry still searching for Bagoo. Hopefully he just goes south. I'm pretty sure that is where GP is and the square tile for Bagoo. Yeah, it's right there. He's going to absolutely smack his face. That is rough.
I have a feeling right now AngryLarry is living up to his handle.
God, for sure. I mean, that's just rough. I mean, he spent the better part of 15 minutes looking for that tile, and it was literally half a screen south. It's really sucks. Meanwhile, Eastern Continent being, what it usually is, a bunch of swamp and nowhere else to go.
Personally, I think the Eastern Continent should always be at least 70% swamp.
And the rest water tiles?
No, the rest can be graveyards. It's okay.
Yeah, that'll work. Oh, and
When I just look out at the vast landscape of Hyrule, dotted by swamps and graveyards, I just wonder what you're really trying to save here.
Yeah, and magic key here for Jam off the desert tile. That is a big find. Ooh, man, those eyes are brutal.
At this point, Jam has entered full where is the glove mode. Because barring a boots block, Jam could be pretty confident that glove would carry him to the end of the game.
Yeah,
While Larry is just finally reaching the north. Though the north wasn't too complex, so he should hopefully be able to get back on track pretty quickly now that he's found the way through.
Yeah, for sure, but, I mean, fairy is still got to be something that's in the back of their mind, even if they find the glove. There is always the possibility of there being a fairy room requirement.
Oh yeah, for sure, and even if you totally don't care about fairy at all, because the odds of a requirement are low, but they do exist, you're going to want to be grabbing spells at this point, because for all you know, you need spell for the glove as well.
This magic word will give you power, and we have fairy found for Jam. So, completely removing what the previous statement, pretty much just find the glove and go, obviously, to get full-on dig shake. I'm definitely ducking into these. Unfortunately, getting a bunch of one-ups instead of P-bags, which I'm pretty sure that's what he's looking for, but at least he'll have a lot of lives to work with for exploration.
The way I look at it, the one-ups can be kind of inconvenient, but I'd much rather be finding one-ups in red jars.
Most definitely. And he's going to take the time to kill this Blue Lizalfos and is rewarded with 300 experience.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. If you look at the original map of Zelda 2, you'll notice that the southern half of the eastern continent has no grassland tiles at all. So when you put them in the game, like the Randomizer does, you see that minor bug where the enemies spawn inside the ground.
Yes, sir, and we do find that we need 7 magic containers in order to access the item from the old lady in New Kasuto. But we'll see what he gets for a spell.
He probably figures Jam got so many good items, he better do a lot of work to deserve her help.
Remember the magic word, and we do get the spell, and he has the ability to cast it.
That's always a massive convenience, because it's easy to overlook, but there is a very real-time requirement to walk all the way back and forth through New Kasuto. So if he has to come back, he just has to go to the very front area to show that woman his magic container collection.
And meanwhile, Larry does pick up the Thunder Spell. At the same time, Jam finds the hammer inside of the magic key spell cave.
Of course, at this point, Larry's the only one who knows where to use that hammer. Jam would probably really prefer that hammer be a useless find.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, at this point, outside of the glove, obviously nothing is probably required. I mean, it could be one of those cool things where the hammer leads to the boots at a Death Mountain and, the glove's on the water tile. You can only hope. but it is a very real possibility.
We could, I mean, if you want to beg for trolls, we could have the mythical horn required seed.
Those are the best. Usually the River Devil isn't a very smart individual.
I would say in about half of the seeds, he's in a place that it's somewhat convenient to get rid of him. Almost never required. Usually the caves work around him. And about half of the time, he's in a very silly location that doesn't block anything.
Jam gonna get put there. We get Cast Thunder too. Very low spell cost this seed, and he does find a P-Bag cave here as well. So the curious question is, which palace is going to be in the Valley of Death?
It doesn't actually matter which palace it is. Jam has the tools to do all of the palaces he hasn't found yet. Well, there's a chance he'll be glove blocked in 2.
Yeah, and a magic container find here for him. So just one more to get that item out of New Kasuto, which very well could be the glove as well. Or maybe it's the horn, and you still have to get the boots out of out of Death Mountain with the hammer in order to get to the north portion where the water tile is to get the glove.
If I were Jam in this situation, I would definitely just begin fishing for Maze Island. Because there's reasonably high odds, based on all the stuff he's found, that the glove is just there. And he can almost certainly clear whatever palace is there as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Larry gonna pick up himself a key very quickly as well. So kind of slowly evening out here. I didn't see or catch if he managed to find the kid or not in the trophy cave. So if somebody could let me know, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I missed that detail as well. It probably doesn't matter, honestly. We still haven't seen Darunia, but we've seen all of the really important spells.
Yeah, that for sure. And a Palace 1 find here for Jam. Or is that 5? That is Palace 1. It is interesting to note that he did take Magic 3, and it has Life 4. So getting up to the EXP requirement to get Attack 4 is going to be possibly a little bit rough.
If I had to guess, I would guess that Jam is going to use the strategy of just not worrying about it. You kind of expect, unless it's a very early find, for Palace 1's gem to be wasted. Just 1 is often just really stingy in terms of experience. And players of this caliber are usually just fine with 5 or even fewer gems.
Yes, that is true. And Larry does invest in some locations to get to Attack 4 via P-Bag, so going to be 4-1-4 to Jam's 3-3-4, and Jam just getting all the jars. We'll see what item this nets him. Hopefully, if it's the glove, then this should be a fairly quick seed from here on out. And Larry going to pick himself up Fairy here just shortly, and we'll be able to move on and pretty much do the exact same stuff that the Jam's doing here. And it's the horn.
Probably a better find than a heart container. It's about the best I can say for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't fully explored the Eastern Continent, it is always nice to be able to have that to just say, okay, well, I don't need to find a cave to get to the northern or southern portion. I can just, get rid of the River Devil. So it does have its advantages.
Just, it was probably fairly low on the list of things he was hoping to see.
Oh, for sure. What is he doing?
Larry finding Palace 1 a little faster than Jam did. He took a different route through the east, stuck further north.
Oh, he's going backwards. Never mind. I was kind of concerned. I didn't understand what Jam was doing, but now I do. He's trying to get the kill on this blue iron knuckle and just says, I'm not going to mess with it anymore.
Blue iron knuckles are pretty problematic enemies. It's one of those situations where, like, you could kill it, but it's going to take so many hits and you're going to get beat up so much. Is it really worth it?
Yes, indeed. There's going to be a little bit of a level discrepancy here for Jam, as he's, again, like we were talking about, going to either have to, I think it's life 5, and Larry probably is going to be able to get the same, but will have the advantage of attack 4.
We do remember that attack 4 was 960, so Jam could easily just cancel this level and count on killing like one blue Lizalfos, and that'll get him all the way there.
Which looks like it is going to be the case. And speaking of, how convenient. Zarnax, I don't believe we've seen how much they are worth yet. Okay, and Jam does get his attack 4, so no big deal. So actually, kind of an advantage at this point, being 4-3-4. How the tides turn so quickly. Looks like we're going to have to take a path here. And we do find Maze Island, so should be 2 easy items here to find.
Maze Island is always one of the most premium things to find on the Eastern continent. You not only have 2 pretty easy items just sitting out around here, but you also get one of your palaces. And just based on what else we've seen, this has to be 2, 3, or 5. Or no, 2, 4, or 5, sorry.
Correct, yes, 2, 4, or 5. Of which all of he could probably do, so definitely shouldn't be too difficult. Again, hoping to find the glove here, but maybe another magic container wouldn't be bad. Thunder's super cheap, so having a couple of casts of that would not necessarily be a bad thing.
Yep. Jam is probably rooting for this to be the very vanilla Palace 4. Because he's definitely not glove blocked in 4, and it's just much smaller and easier than Palace 5. But no matter what it is, he'll probably give it a whirl.
And Larry taking a death to that blue iron knuckle. In a very fantastic location, that is for sure. It looks like he's trying to get the experience off of him. Or, caster curse. And our first find is a heart container.
Which, heart containers are always disappointing finds, but this is Jam's first. Larry, of course, having gotten his first heart container from his trip into Death Mountain.
Yeah, and you called it. It is, in fact, Palace 4, so should be fairly simple for Jam to get finished here.
4 is really an excellent palace. It isn't as large as you would think, given its number. And its boss is more or less an automatic win with the Reflect spell. The only thing you usually have to worry about is you're very stingy on keys, but they have the solution to that problem.
And we have a magic container in the magic container drop location.
Meanwhile, Larry just takes life 5. His leveling strategy seems to be much more of a take them as they go strategy and what is a magic level.
Yeah, and Larry right behind here. I mean, again, these guys are pretty much neck and neck thus far.
Yeah, Jam definitely has the exploration advantage from having explored the southern part of the eastern continent, but we know the only thing down there is New Kasuto, which so far does not appear to be a critical location. So, if things roll the right way, it could work out that Larry just never needs to go down to that zone.
That is very true. And Jam making good use of that Thunder Spell. It's always nice when you get that early and it's fairly cheap.
Yeah. And that does kind of show that even though Jam, you mentioned his all keys experience, he still very much has the randomizer mindset. So, in vanilla, you're not really going to use Thunder for much of anything beyond its intended purpose. It just comes way too late. But it's a really powerful spell if you actually have it. Not a lot of enemies can take a Thunder.
Nope, they generally have to be of the blue variety. And looks like we found the item room here.
I would also like to observe that the dog heads in the Palace 346 set are worth 20 experience apiece. At this point in the game, that's not really that big of a deal for grinding, but whenever you're short on experience, just knowing those are there can just help fill the gaps.
Definitely, and we do find yet another hard container for Jam. Very unfortunate, but, that's the way the tides turn. So still looking for that glove. We could always hope it's in, like, Palace 6 or something. There's lots of opportunities for that glove to be in a really bad location. Not that I want to see these guys suffer. I just enjoy seeing challenging seeds and how, each player adapts and figures out the puzzle.
If I had to guess, Jam's next move would probably be going back to New Kasuto now that he does have those 7 magic containers. The number of places remaining for that glove is really not very high. And sorry if there's a little noise on my end. Mother Nature is casting thunder over here.
Yeah, I'm actually... We're very close to each other. I have the exact same thing going on outside. Hopefully we don't have a power outage. So Larry making his way into Palace 4 as well. A bit of an exploration lead for Jam. Knows to take the drop. So we will see what this nets him here.
So the extra magic container Jam has, that was a New Kasuto blocked by spell, right?
No, New Kasuto was the hammer.
Oh yeah, where was that magic container that Jam has then?
He got it out of I believe it was one of the P-Bag caves on the eastern continent.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Because as the glove runs low on locations, I begin to think more and more about the possibility that 7 magic container item or that hammer could be very big things.
It'll be interesting to see what choice Jam makes as far as his next move, having those 7 containers. It is a bit of a trek to go back down there, so I don't know that he'll do it right away. But, it's one of those things where, yes, it's a time investment to go back, but it's a guaranteed item that you know where it is. So it's, I don't know. I think I would probably make my way back down there to see if I could figure out if that was the glove or not. Because if it is, you're pretty much done. At that point, you're just going.
Yeah, and for that matter, I don't believe we've spotted the ocean tile yet. So if it's the boots there, and then you continue your exploration, you could be able to check that item right away instead of having to add another thing to your list of, well, I'll come back for it.
Yeah, we do find out that Reflect is linked to fire. So that particular spell won't actually suit or help anybody in any particular way for pretty much the rest of the seed here.
Yeah, that's... If you find Reflect first, that's honestly one of the worst things for Fire to be linked to. Just, Reflect is very seldom a useful spell.
Yeah, I mean, the only place that it really I see as, super useful is maybe on Thunderbird for one, or early on in a Palace when you're trying to get through a Doom Knocker. Outside of that, it doesn't have a lot of uses other than to kill K-Rock. And speaking of the water tile, there it is. And another town.
And it looks like Jam is sticking with the plan B we were discussing earlier of just continuing his exploration. It's not really that bad to do this.
No, and if he does find Darunia...
Yeah, and in addition to the towns, he still has another palace to find. He still has another item cave on this side to find. Who knows what those things contain?
Yeah, for sure. And he's going to be able to get Upstab as well as an additional spell. Obviously, at this point, he's maybe hoping for Life or Shield. Life would be nice, I think. But, never know. Meanwhile, Larry is making the correct path towards K-Rock here. But unfortunately, I think he's going to end up stuck not being able to get attack 5. And he is going to double back for some experience.
Or for some lava.
Or that
because he
too.
needed to refill his magic to cast the Reflect spell.
I mean, I suppose he could have just died to K-Rock, but I guess the lava is faster.
Especially with Life 5, 2 heart containers. It's actually good presence of mind to save that little bit of time just using the lava instead of throwing yourself in the boss fight having to get hit like 5 or 6 times. Meanwhile, the child cashes in for the life spell.
Yeah, that life 5 is going to cost him here. 1550 for life 6, so I assume he's probably just going to take life 6 at this point and deal with it.
I mean, once you take either Magic 4 or Life 5, you're pretty much committing yourself to level as you go and not manipulate the gems. Which, it's a totally viable strategy. A lot of the strongest players use that sort of strat.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for sure.
Yeah, but it can be very intimidating because one of the consequences of that strat is that you're often stuck with low attack levels until very late in the seed.
And Palace 5 here for Jam. Fantastic blue color. Let's see how much of a troll this dungeon is. You have to assume he's going to dig for the items since we still do not have a glove. I don't know that we've seen all of the, as Larry likes to call them, the dollar store items yet, but, there is always the possibility of that happening as well.
There is still a cross at large in this seed.
Yeah, that's very true. Or the trophy. I mean, the trophy is basically, non-useful. I didn't see what spell was in Darunia.
It was life.
Life. Okay, so good find. So basically, you're playing for shield or fire with the trophy. So not necessarily anything you want to find there either.
Yeah, shield and life are more or less interchangeable. They do the same thing if you get down to it, which is extend how long you can live by using up your magic. Different play styles prefer one or the other, but most players are going to be flexible enough to make use of either one.
And meanwhile, Larry does find Darunia as well, so we'll get...
If I had to take a guess, I would say Larry probably does not have the child, given his hesitation to enter Darunia.
According to his tracker, he has it.
In that case, I guess he just doesn't figure he needs spells. He hasn't been to New Kasuto yet, so he might be entering here thinking, well, just in case spell is required.
Well, yeah, and you figured you'd want to get Upstab anyways if you find it. It's not always required, but there is the chance that you will need it for Great Palace, so not always a bad thing. And we have a Guma fight here on Jam's side.
Yeah, Upstab. I'm a big fan of upstab, but I also use upstab to fight Barba because I'm bad. But with Short and Great Palace, the odds of it being required in GP are so low, you can mostly neglect it until that one time it really bites you.
Yeah, and life actually really cheap too. The magic levels or the magic costs in this seed are being extremely friendly. And a very low EXP Guma, but just enough to get him over the threshold for attack 6.
Now, I don't know if you feel the same way, but as a player, I always like bosses to give the minimum amount of experience I need, because I know someone else is not going to have enough when that happens.
Well, yeah, I understand that completely. The problem is I'm always the one that it happens to, so I have to either go back and farm or eat it, and I'm not good enough yet to just eat it, so I end up losing a lot of time because, you know, it'll be like something like 60 experience, but I have to backtrack 6 or 7 screens to find something. But, you know, I agree. As far as, you know, as strategy goes, that is something that is very viable. And we do have a horn usage here by Larry, and we'll see what he finds.
He's definitely found some interesting topography up north, but so far nothing useful.
Am I the only one that hopes that the other side of that river has got something on it? Not very
well, you know what
happens,
you know what
but
the situation with those narrow rivers is. You guess a side to go on, and what you need is always on the other one.
Yeah, for sure. And the boots found in the other P-bag cave here for Jam. So that will give him access to the water tile, which he did see, and will make navigation just a little bit easier.
I think that confirms there can't possibly be anything useful up here. Well, Larry just confirmed it directly. Because the only major objective we haven't seen at this point is Old Kasuto, and we know whatever the spell there is, it's not important.
Yeah, I think the water tile was just around the bend over here and down, so he should be able to get that very quickly. Hopefully it's the glove. If not, I mean, again, we're looking at, you know, he didn't find the item in 5. It would be kind of interesting to find out if that was in fact where the glove was, but running out of locations for that item to be.
In Jam's mind, there's still 2 items in Death Mountain. We know one of them's the heart container, but he doesn't. And he does have the hammer, so if he continues to strike out, he might make a play there relatively soon.
But he does find the glove, so he will be able to basically go on full-on dig shake and get this seed going. And we do find...
At this point, Jam's in a great position. With the boots especially, it'll be really easy to navigate the East Continent down to what must be Palace 2 and Great Palace.
Oh my! Boots are actually required to get to Old Kasuto and to Valley of Death. That's super interesting. And he finds the shield spell, so finds the last one that he definitely wants. That's pretty awesome.
I'm almost surprised he even went in to get the spell from here because he knew it had to be shield or fire, but I guess more safety never hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty minor time investment. I guess he maybe thought that it was worth the time. Man modes through the encounter and is going to find himself, looks like Palace 2. Meanwhile, Larry is going to locate that hammer. And hopefully he doesn't take the bait.
Larry knows where the rock is, which could have been an advantage in different circumstances. But here, honestly, I think it's a negative because it might just give him more incentive to use it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully he doesn't take the bait and head back to Death Mountain. He just needs to find that P-bag cave that has the boots, and he'll be good to go. At this point, I feel like Jam has got a bit of an edge, obviously. He's a palace ahead. He's got the glove already. He knows that he doesn't need anything else. Meanwhile, Larry is still
Jam has
searching.
a very clear path to the end of the game. Because once Jam finishes with Palace 2 here, he'll be able to just up A and never return to the Eastern Continent again.
Yeah, that's
3 and 6 are...
And here it is. Here is here's Helmet Head already. So very fast too here for Jam.
Yeah, he pretty much just followed the I don't care about the item meta, but there are definitely ways this could go differently. He didn't see more than half of the rooms into 2.
Yeah, I mean, just finding that glove is a big deal. Again, you gotta hope that... I mean, Larry's gonna have the glove, I guess. He can't get to 2 without getting the boots, so he has to walk by the water tile. So, I mean, he won't... I don't think anybody will search for the item in 2.
Yeah, there's more or less no conceivable circumstance either player would make that decision. At this point, Larry really has to hope that Jam gets really tripped up between Palace 6 and Great Palace, because Jam is effectively about a palace ahead here. Maybe a little more.
He's actually 2 palaces ahead, because Larry hasn't done 5.
Oh yeah,
or
Larry
2.
hasn't done 5 yet either.
He does find the boots, though, so that means he will be able to get the glove. But yeah, he's quite a bit behind here. And actually heading the wrong direction to get to the water tile, but does find Nukasudo. Oh, it was a magic container. I'm sorry. It's the other cave that has the boots. He does have the 7 required, so we'll see what item he gets out of the old lady's cave. And it is a heart container. Definitely not what he's looking for.
It is definitely not a good feeling when the 2 items that you found your opponent didn't are the 2 other heart containers.
So Larry, I think, has to probably be a little bit frustrated at this point. It's always unfortunate when you can't find a quick early glove. But at the same time, spending the better part of 15 minutes looking for Bagu, who was just a screen south from start. Hopefully that hasn't affected his play, and made a little bit of a tilt factor. I mean, he usually doesn't have too much of a problem with that, but I know I would be frustrated at that point and have some major tunnel vision on what I should be doing. And meanwhile, the very quick Remonac here for Jam and Palace 3.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It never, whether you let it affect your play or not, it's definitely in your mind. As he struggles to find the glove, that time he spent wandering around in Death Mountain will just keep coming back to him.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, especially when he finds out, where it's at. It's just one of those things, though, where, that's the play you make because he didn't know what else to do at the time. And I've done it, too. It's like, I don't know where to go. I know that I need to find one thing, right? And it could very well be that I need Bagu, but I don't know where the heck he's at. So, I'm gonna make a different play instead of wandering aimlessly. Meanwhile, Jam does go back and is going to grab the experience in order to get Magic 6 here.
Yeah, this is a fairly quick grind here. Because he left these enemies behind. Yeah. A little surprised he didn't just take life 6 and then let the gem do whatever it was going to do, but probably won't make a huge difference.
Yeah, that is an interesting call. He could have probably ended up 666 at this point, but, to each
either
their own.
666 or 657. You don't know what's going to cost more, but it's not really a big deal either way.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Maybe he's looking to get that. It'd be the same way either way, 667 or 666 at the end of the next palace. So I guess either way, it was a little bit more of a time investment that way. So just Palace 6 left, and at this point, Larry's got to hope for some crazy stuff to happen.
It looks like Jam is seeing if he can not take a cave. I think he's going to be disappointed here. I think that path back through Bagu, or possibly the Parapa cave, I don't think we ever saw how it connected, are his only path up to P6, but he should remember that.
Yeah, and Larry, walking by the water tile, did not find the P-Bag Cave that contains the boots, which is up north here. So, unfortunately for him, still searching for the item that he needs, and he's heading the wrong direction at this point as well. Very interesting, though, that it is, in fact, a Bagu-required seed. That's not very often that happens.
Well, Bagu required, pending other possible solutions that neither player explored.
So it's Bagu required, right? If you can't prove it otherwise, then it's Bagu required.
I really want to know where that Parapa Cave goes.
Yeah, it's very interesting that neither of them took it. But, you know...
Yeah, it bothers me because it seems like an obvious thing to take. It makes me think I made a mistake and they must have seen the other end or something. Which maybe they did. It's really easy to not notice things like the front of Parapa Cave from a commentator's perspective.
Yeah, very true.
Though certainly we have not discounted the possibility of Death Mountain as a connector.
Yeah, that would be...
I
love those
Bagu
seeds.
is smarter than that one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's never... I do want to see eventually, and I think we'll have it happen with all the matches that we have, that there will be a Death Mountain required seed. And those are horrible, because if you don't get early levels, or you end up with like maybe some really bad enemy sets, it can be really daunting to get through those kind of seeds when you have to make it through Death Mountain to go anywhere.
Meanwhile, Jam, here in Palace 6 is a smaller palace than 5, but in my experience, at least, it is far easier to lose time here than it is to lose time in 5.
Oh, for sure.
Palace has a ton of drops. It's really easy to just go in constant circles.
I think you know from personal experience.
I would have said this even before yesterday.
Well, I agree, but I mean, a perfect example of it last night, and it wasn't your fault, it just so happened that, you know, that drop put you...
Oh, it was my fault.
And trying to make you feel better. Gosh, and a quick Barba, holy cow. Jam making all the right moves this seed.
This is pure superstition, but I feel as though that drop to the fairy thing is Barba disproportionately often.
Oh my goodness, look at the Yak Hammer. Yeah, that is the, that's a one cycle with attack 6. That is the all keys experience coming in right there.
And sadly, even Barba's 1000 was not enough to get Jam Life 6, so he's going to actually end at 666.
Yeah, so maybe...
But he'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. Maybe the backtracking actually cost him a life level there, but I don't think he'll care.
Yeah, he has all the safety spells. He has a ton of magic containers. He's walking somewhere.
Yeah, you would think he'd just up A, because GP's right by start. Maybe he forgot where GP was? I guess Larry can hope that he spends, oh, that rock block, like, come on.
He has the hammer.
Oh, right, but it's like, come on. I think he's forgotten where GP is. I mean, it's literally directly south.
Yeah. I did not realize that rock was going to lead to that.
I didn't either. That's great. That's what I'm saying. It's like, come on, seriously? Yeah, that looks like we have got a little bit of a memory situation here with Jam, as he is searching for GP, which is literally a screen and a half south of the start screen. So as long as he does this for about 30 more minutes, Larry might have the opportunity to come back here.
mean, give Larry some credit. I think he really only needs to do this for about 20 more minutes.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah, he knows GP's in the West. So, as painful as it is to have to re-explore the continent for a palace you've already seen, he really does have ample time to find it all over again.
Meanwhile, we do have a Palace 3 finish for Larry, finishing his third Palace, and he's going to backtrack. What is he backtracking for?
Larry still needs the glove,
item.
Right?
Oh my goodness, you're right.
He was able to complete Palace 3 without the glove.
Wow. That, man. That's brutal.
Meanwhile, Jam has discovered Great Palace again.
Avoids getting Buzz Thundered on top of it. Yeah, Gloveless 3 does happen. It is a possibility. It is not very likely, but
Glove was not required at all. Jam has already disproven this.
Yeah, and the item is found by Larry, and it is a 8th magic container. And meanwhile, Jam finds a very quick T-Bird.
Now, finding T-Bird this early before you've had to make any choices is really nice. Not only because you don't have to worry about conserving magic for Thunder throughout the rest of the palace, but because now you know none of the drops you find will possibly take you backward.
Yeah, very true. I mean, minus perhaps an elevator that goes left that, you get a drop room on the left side after you go right, but definitely decreases the chance of having to backtrack a whole bunch. But yeah, again, Jam, it always amazes me, kind of going back to the Z1 tournament, where he just always seems to make the right decisions. And I don't know if it's just because he's got, that super luck factor or what, but he just always seems to find the stuff quickly and in the right fashion. He just makes really good decisions on the fly.
Speaking of drops, it looks like Thunderbird leads immediately to a required drop.
Those are always nice. Those are the best kind of drops. Meanwhile, Larry is still looking around, trying to find how to get to the glove. I don't remember.
I thought the best drops were when you had two right next to each other. One leads to Dark Link, and the other leads to the very beginning.
Well, that is still, yeah. I mean, that's obviously nice for viewers. Not so much if you're the player that makes the wrong decision, but I feel bad for Larry here because I don't remember exactly where that P-Bag Cave was, but at this point he's going into Palace 6, and we didn't find the item there, and I don't think the glove was required to get to Barba, but still,
I mean, it's good news that the glove is not going to be required to reach Barba. So doing 6 now is not going to cost him time unless he spends forever looking for an item that's potentially unreachable. But
yeah, I mean, at this point, you have to think that that's maybe the case. He just hasn't found that one P-Bag Cave in the east, unfortunately. And man, it's just, it's unfortunate.
that red jar and Larry were not friends in the seed. Meanwhile, on Jam's side, we see the always entertaining decision to just use Fairy over the Fairy Lava Room.
Well, yeah, why not?
That's kind of the freedom you're given by having already killed Thunderbird, because he doesn't have to worry about being able to do a fight at the end of a long slog. He just has to deal with Dark Link, who as long as you can survive one hit, is more or less a cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to try to man mode it. But not very many people want to do that in the middle of a race. And meanwhile, it looks like we are forced into a left.
Did he take the drop over the bridge, or under the bridge? I thought he just walked over it.
I think he just walked over it and he's backtracking.
Because, yeah, Shortened Great Palace takes out a bunch of rooms that just connect in two different ways. So that's why the flag makes it much less likely you need upstab or the fairy spell, but it doesn't remove any of the rooms that have different numbers of doors, so the actual maze structure is just as complex as ever.
Yeah, and unfortunately, led to another dead end, so gonna have to go backwards and maybe take that drop now. Meanwhile, Larry trying to, I'm not sure, get some magic perhaps. I'm not sure what he's looking for. Just trying to get some experience to maybe get a higher level here. I know at this point, and I'm speaking from personal experience and how I'd be playing, at an hour 8 in with only 3 gems and still not having the boots or the glove, and I'm going through Palace 6, I would be extremely frustrated. Because a lot of times for me...
at this point, like, I actually think Larry made a really... It's not correct, but he's made a really smart decision to go into 6 without the glove. Because here's the logic you have to follow if you're Larry. Like, I lost so much time early in the seed, and the other factors in the seed haven't been going my way either. The only way I realistically win this is if the glove is somewhere just horrible, and I just go to it right now.
Right. I mean, what I was gonna finish with is that there's always one cave somewhere that I can't find. You know, just from the fact that either I miss it by not scrolling far enough or whatnot, and that always tends to be where the item is at, and that's the case here. It's the boots that leads to, you know, the glove, and it's always frustrating because I'll do exactly what Larry's doing, exactly like you were saying, because it makes way more sense to go to a palace where you know where it's at, where you might be able to find an item, than maybe to spend so much time exploring the overworld in hopes to finding that one cave. Where maybe in your mind that you think you've already explored everywhere, kind of like the Bagu situation, and in fact you haven't. It's just in that one little place where you haven't been, or it's a cave that you maybe went somewhere else first and forgot about.
Yeah, it is true that from Larry's perspective, that one cave could be boots blocked. We know it's not, but he doesn't. Though again, like, when you know you're behind, and at this point, Larry has to know that unless the seed has a massive troll he hasn't seen yet, he's behind. Going for the Hail Mary is the plus EV play.
Yeah, and he does find Barba here. So, I mean, again, glove not required for 3 or 6. Not very often that happens either. So that's, again, another one of those really cool things about this seed. But
it's entirely possible to walk into the door of GP in the seed with no glove and then promptly be glove blocked in the second room.
Yeah, for sure. And the Eon drop here for Jam, and unfortunately, a death for Larry. A couple of hits from being able to kill Barba.
I'm going to throw out there, again, because I'm bad. I hate Barba.
Oh, me too.
This boss is nothing but a time sink. Unless you're like Jam and you just jackhammer it, and then this boss is just a time game.
Yeah, and you know, honestly though, for me, I found that I actually have a better time with it after watching one of the races, doing it without jump. I did that without jump instead of with jump, and it seems to just be a lot easier for me to do the fight, because, you know, I'll overshoot that first hit sometimes, and, you know, it does take me forever. Meanwhile, Palace 6 finally finished for Larry here. He's going to pick up, I would assume, life 7. Yeah, and then fill out magic. He's still got 2 gems. He's 627, and he is going to backtrack for the item. At this point, just convinced that... Oh, shoot. He falls into the lava.
I'd also like to point out from what we saw on Jam's side, he took that bridge drop, and then the room... This is a while back, but it was a big observation. And then immediately thereafter, he walked through another drop destination. So there are 2 drops he hasn't seen yet. It seems extremely likely that one of them leads directly to Darklink, and the other is going to be a very large backtrack.
Yeah, we'll see if Larry could even get to the item here without the glove. And at this point, you know, it's it's probably the cross. It's got to be the cross with the trophy. Unless we have maybe a P bag or a 1-up left somewhere. Going left at Fairy is always the correct choice.
Jam's already gone right through Fairy.
Well, now he went left, and that's the right choice. This GPP, you know, the early Thunderbird is nice, but he's definitely ran into quite a few dead ends thus far.
I feel like Jam is somewhat going in circles here, but I haven't been mapping this or anything, so it's hard to say. He might just be backtracking to that one path he remembers.
I don't know that he's taken this drop yet. I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't. This is new.
Oh, and he runs right into Darklink.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
While at the same time, Larry does find the item room in Palace 6. What you get is unfortunately going to have not anything useful. Again, just whether it be luck or whatnot, very well played by Jam here. You know, obviously, again, one of those players, I think, where the all keys experience actually has a lot of help. And a P-bag for Larry in Palace 6, that's a heartbreaker, just as Jam dot guns with a finishing time of 1:14.52.
Probably even more heartbreaking than a cross. Though at this point, anything that wasn't glove was going to be pretty unacceptable to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... Yeah. I think I would rather have the cross. I mean, at least it could be useful. That P-bag is about the most salt in a wound that you can get.
But yeah, like, looking at this race as a whole, definitely Jam finding Bagoo much earlier than Larry was the main critical point of the race, though Jam finding those boots is quickly turning into the second critical point, as I don't know if Larry's choices of where to look for the glove are informed by his early game, or if he just got frustrated in the East, but
I just don't know that he was close to the area where that cave was. I just don't know that he ever scrolled up all the way to find it. Because I know it was north, like northwestish or north of the water tile, and he came from that direction and didn't have the boots. So I just don't know if he just missed that cave or what, but it's in a pretty obscure area, and it's just, he's going to have to go back and find it at some point. And he's back at Death Mountain with the hammer. It looks like he's going to go back to that boulder, and it's going to be the cross or the trophy.
Yeah, there's the trophy, and that confirms the cross is in P5. Because I believe that's the only item we haven't seen. Or no, we haven't seen P2's item either, have we?
No, we have not seen Palace 2.
But either way, it's academic.
Yeah, and Larry, I don't know if he's just taking a quick break or what here, but has not forfeited. But unfortunately, probably got a loss for words. I mean, he's got everything marked on his tracker, other than the water tile, the Eastern Peabag Cave, and that's it. I mean, then Palace 2 and Palace 5. So, which he hasn't been into yet. But, you know, at the same time, it's super unfortunate. I've had it happen, and it's super frustrating when you just cannot find the glove. Which, again,
Yeah,
you don't know that it's not necessarily required, and he'd done 3 and 6 without it, but you know for almost certain you're going to have it to do GP.
Yeah, this is always frustrating whenever this happens. Like, if Bagu had been in any of the other forest tiles, if the glove had been in any of this just huge number of places I checked and my opponent didn't. But, you know, a randomizer, sometimes those are the breaks you get.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, more than once I've been in a seed where, you know, it'll take some people 2 hours and others will finish in an hour. It just happens to be, you know, do you find that cave? Is really what it comes down to. It's kind of the randomizer luck. There's definitely skill involved, but definitely the randomizer luck. And, you know, Jam again displaying the all keys ability with some of the boss fights and such, but also just found all the right paths through the dungeons super quick. 6 was fast, 3 was fast, 2 was fast, 5 was fast. I mean, there was pretty much no time wasted in any of those palaces.
I mean, it was kind of the nature of the seed that you had to find the one thing that wasn't, I wouldn't say super well hidden, but was in a place that was easy to miss. You had to do that twice in this seed, and then all the palaces fell into place. But if you moved a little off that rail, the seed gave you massive time sinks you could just pour your minutes into.
Yeah, and again, it's almost a slap in the face that 3 and 6 were doable without the glove. Just because that, you know, that is a symptom of Jam. Well, I think he had the glove for 6. I don't know if he had it for 3. I don't remember exactly. But either way, it's just one of those things where, you know, you could go in and do the boss and be done with it, even without the glove. I think he did 3 without the glove because it was on Maze Island. So,
no, 3 was in the West.
Oh,
Jam
you're right.
did 3
you're
and
right.
6 with the glove.
You're correct. I'm sorry. You are correct. And he does pick up fire. Why not? I haven't been marking Larry's spells. I apologize. Yeah, I mean, just Jam had fire via reflect, didn't he? Or did he actually get the fire spell?
Jam actually got the or no, he just got fire via reflect. I'm not used to a question like that because I don't think of fire as a thing you have. It's a tool to get something else you might need.
Right.
But fire is not a value.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate it was paired with reflect this time around, but I mean, it didn't have any issues. All the 3 spells to, you know, quote unquote required spells. Obviously, 2 of them are in order to beat the game, but Fairy as well, super accessible, not hidden behind any kind of block or anything. Or, you know, we had the other night where you had to get the medicine out of 4 in order to get reflect, and then go back to 4. Always a possibility with the new rules that Dick Shake has put in with the new cave shuffle with the pea bags and such. So, you know, honestly, not a totally seed at all. It's just got to find the boots in that one cave.
Yeah, and the West certainly had a pretty obnoxious layout, but once you figured out the solution to the puzzle, it kind of all fell into place. I guess the big question for Larry trying to finish out here is, what is he going to find first? Is he going to find that one cave, or is he going to find Palace 5?
I hope it's the one cave.
Finish out. Because Jam had a pretty quick P5. P5 is well known for sometimes going crazy long, and when you're hunting for the item, it happens a lot more often.
Yes, sir, it does.
Meanwhile, Larry, discovering one of the least useful caves in Hyrule, just connects a couple feet away.
Ugh, that's always fun.
Okay, yeah, that was the one he'd already been in. That fairly easy one, just going about as far east as you can go from the raft tile.
Yeah, hopefully he finds this soon. Again, it's just super frustrating. I've been here, I've done it. I think everybody has at one point or another, where it's just that one cave, and you can't find it.
Yeah, and it's not like Zelda 2 Randomizer has a hint system or anything, beyond the magic container lady telling you how many she needs. So the thing you need could always be in the very last spot.
The glove is in Hyrule. That's the extent of the hidden system.
Yeah, usually you find the things you need before the very end, but any seed you play, it could always be the one where the last thing is the last thing you need.
And meanwhile, Larry back north here. He's in, I think, the right area, just the wrong direction.
I think he's too far north right now. Isn't this north of the River Devil?
I believe so, yes. And welcome, JamEviler. Congratulations, sir.
Well, I forgot I was on push to talk. Hi.
Very nice seed, sir. That was, I don't know, good boss fights, good routing. You found everything you needed when you needed to find it.
Yeah, I definitely got lucky there. A lot of the times I just fell into the boots, which led to the glove, which happened to be not needed, I don't think. Oh, one section. It actually was needed for Great Palace, but I don't think it really was needed anywhere else.
Nope, 3 and 6 are
That
both
is
completable.
correct, because Larry's run has been basically the opposite story. He was able to do 3 and 6 without the glove, including the items, but they just were no value at all.
Yeah, Larry, unfortunately, still looking for that P-Bag Cave, which it was north, like westish of the water tile, correct?
Yeah, he's actually on the right path to it right now, it looks like.
Yeah, he was actually in that area, that north portion of the water tile, and just missed the cave. And that was probably about 20 minutes ago. In fact, I think this is it right here, and he just missed it, unfortunately. I think he even ducked into P5, and maybe kind of tunnel visioned on that, and then just totally missed the fact that this cave was here. And that, unfortunately, set him back quite a bit, on top of not being able to find Bagu for about 10 minutes while searching for him early on.
Yeah, Bagu required, more than likely in this seed. I wasn't able to verify that 100%, but that's the route that I took.
Yeah, you both
through
ultimately took Bagu. Larry tried to use Death Mountain as a connector, found the items in Death Mountain. He just got a heart container for his treble. Did either of you take Parapa Cave or see both ends of it?
Good question. I do not remember. I do not recall at this point.
Because, yeah, I saw the east side of Parapa Cave right next to the one into Jump Cave. I couldn't remember ever seeing the other side, which doesn't mean that I didn't see it. Just, I can miss things. But I kept wondering why neither of you were trying that, though Bagoo turned out to be a very good solution. It got you the Reflect spell and put you in the region you needed.
Yeah, even in the late game, that's the route that I took to get to the northern part of the island. I was just not able to find any other way around. I tried to boot around the first time when I got back, when I was going to clean up the rest of the dungeons, and I just didn't see a clear boot path. So right back to Rivertown. That's where I was. Saria Bridge, ferry over, and back to the top. I think this is the fastest I've ever beaten one of these. By the way, this is like I never had one go this smooth. Besides losing Great Palace, which I tend to lose at least one palace per run. Thankfully, it wasn't too far out of the way, and I did eventually remember where it was, and it didn't cost me too much time. About 5 minutes, I'd say, I spent looking for Great Palace at the end there.
Yeah, your run went pretty well, because you, early on, it just, how did you feel when your early spells, here's Reflect, here's Thunder, here's Fairy, here's the magic key?
Yeah, I either like Magic Key or Fairy early on, and to get both of them was definitely a nice relief. I was like, wow, I could actually go in dungeons now, and I could most likely complete them. And that's what I ended up doing after I found most of the items. I was like, well, it's time to just start, diving into these dungeons and mopping them up as quickly as possible. And that's what I did. I actually had a really good chance to just skip all the items in dungeons and just go straight for the gems, and that seemed to work out for me. And my leveling plan worked out really well. There was only one time where I had to go back and farm a little XP to get a little boost, but it really wasn't that much of a time loss, and I was happy with a 666 outcome. That's kind of like that's my comfort zone in Great Palace is all sixes.
Yeah, I was wondering, actually, I think it was in Palace 3, it was 3, you went back to grind, and then you passed on Life 6 in favor of saving up for Magic 6. What was the thought process behind not just taking Life 6 and letting the gem do whatever it would do?
I just wanted to make sure that I was going to get that Magic 6. I didn't know how much Life 7 was going to cost. It was actually relatively close to what Magic was. And I thought, hey, might as well just go for it and see what happens. Actually, my original thought when I first went to go back was, oh, I'm going to get another attack level. I'm up to the next magic level, and that wasn't the case. As soon as I leveled up, I realized, oh yeah, it's going to be the next magic level, which is fine, which I was more than prepared for. But to pull an attack 7 out of that would have been spectacular. It just didn't happen that way. I did mess up a little bit, but I recovered in the end.
Yeah, and a sick Barba fight, man, with attack 6.
Yep, that's kind of what I'm known for is my Barba jackhammer. A lot of people call it the jam hammer. I just always have done that. I've always gone for the jackhammer strats. It's kind of my go-to, and I find it to be a lot easier than just taking your time. I've done attack 4 jackhammer 1 cycles on Barba, so attack 6 was not too difficult.
Very cool, man. And yeah, just great routing through the palaces. You just ran into all the bosses extremely quickly and very little time loss. Yeah, just very well played all around. Very impressive.
Thanks. I did a little practice today. I did 2 practice seeds. The first one took well over 2 hours. The second one was like an hour and a half. Like I said, I think this is the fastest I've ever beaten one of these. I definitely got lucky, and the practice today definitely helped out.
Well, you know how it is with the randomizer. Sometimes you got to get lucky, but a lot of what you do is making your own luck too, right?
Yeah, I'd give it like a 50-50 on this one.
And meanwhile, Larry is on his way to Palace 2 finally after just finding the boots and the glove. And interesting enough that the boots were required as well to get to Palace 2.
Yeah, that was interesting. I saw Death Mountain Valley of Death early on, but I never saw a way to get to it. Luckily, I had the boots when I was doubling back towards that spot and found that it was indeed boot blocked, along with what was that, Kasuto?
Yes, Old Kasuto.
Yeah, Old Kasuto. Yeah. So that was cool. That was definitely an interesting map overall. I enjoyed the whole thing. From top to bottom, and I'm really excited to see what the next matchup's going to be like.
Yeah, congrats again, Jam. You definitely earned your win. It was a fun one to watch.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was fun to play. That's for sure. All right. Well, if you got nothing else for me, I'm just going to hang out for a little bit and watch the rest of this race. Cut the stream.
All right, very good, man. Thank you so much for joining us for an interview, and again, congratulations.
Yep, I'll see you in a bit.
And a very quick helmet head find here for AngryLarry as well. Super short palace. And he's going to be able to, hopefully, I don't know how much experience helmet head gave this time. Okay, enough.
Larry's actually, we haven't commented on it in light of the other things Larry's been doing, but he's actually following a very interesting leveling strat. I've heard some people talk about doing this, where you basically intentionally try to keep your magic level absurdly low. In this case, he only has magic 2. That lets you really pump attack and life. And then in GP, well, I guess he's not doing that. But the theory is in GP, you just keep taking magic levels as you kill a couple enemies, and it keeps refilling you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've watched him enough to know that he is definitely one of those guys. And I swear, I thought I turned off those host alerts. But he is one of those guys where he's a big proponent of getting life 7 or 8, and then instead of the higher attack level, if it didn't so happen, and then pumping magic later, as it helps him get through the seed without dying as much.
And fortunately, Larry does remember where the Great Palace is, and his adventure here will begin. Jam actually had a pretty slow go of it. He picked most of the wrong paths here before the right one. We'll see if Larry runs into some better paths toward Darklink.
It gets Buzz Thundered, unfortunately.
In fairness, when the King bot is there, it's only half your fault when you get hit by it.
That is true. And the early T-Bird here, I'm sure he's happy to see that. We'll see if he takes the required drops, as we do know that I believe it's the Eon drop that you must take to progress your way towards Darklink.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely clear whether that one was required or not, but it definitely led you there. The one directly to Darklink was, I don't even know what to call it. One of the two that's to the right where upstab is really convenient to have.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he took every path but the Eon drop, as he dead-ended on several other paths, and I believe finally just up-8 and took the Eon drop.
Yeah, the only drop that I know Jam didn't take was the one where you're moving left before you take it. Which we saw where that leads. It would be the room directly after the, I guess we can call it the Eon drop.
Yeah, and be sure to stick around. I will host once AngryLarry is done, but starting in 20 minutes over on twitch.tv/digshake, we will have a match between Jake Hoper and Shiner CCC starting at 11 Eastern. So be sure to check that out after this match is finished.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be a pretty interesting one, too. Jake Hoper obviously plays a very large number of randomizers, and Zelda 2 is a game he certainly spends a lot of time on, but Shiner showed himself to be pretty dangerous in the last tournament. I haven't seen him participating in many races since then, but I wouldn't take him lightly at all.
No, definitely. I think a pretty close to even matchup. The only thing I think that might play in Jake Ober's favor is, again, like you were stating, I don't think Shiner's played very many seeds recently. And with the changes in 3.0, if you haven't really practiced them, they can be a tad daunting. Will Larry take the drop? That is the question.
I feel like most players wouldn't. Like, I might, but I'm a little crazy. I think the meta answer is not to take it. But, oh yeah, that drop is... I'm pretty sure that drop is not required. Because I believe doesn't it lead you down below that fairy room and you can eventually come back up to it through the elevator?
It might. I'll be honest, I was watching
I
Larry
actually
a bit
think
at the time.
that left there where Larry just got the jar is actually the correct path. Because then that hooks back around to a different drop that is the short to dark link. But yeah, just continuing right, trying to take elevators is definitely the meta. He saw that Jam got a really good time, so his presumption is probably going to be that if you just play by the book in Great Palace, you'll probably get rewarded.
Yeah, unfortunately not the case here. It is a bit convoluted to go to the correct path. But I mean, either way, it's still going to be a very respectable time for Larry, all things considered. In this, with the Bagu incident, and then just not. I assume that he ducked into P5 and then just totally missed the fact that that cave was there, because I'm pretty sure he ducked into P5 and then headed south right afterwards, and it's just super unfortunate. This would have been much closer.
I'm not sure if he found P5 or not, but like, here's kind of the metric I would use versus the did Larry just make a mistake versus did Larry get unlucky. In that second part of the game, Larry was not finding items more slowly than Jam was. He was just finding the wrong items.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Larry, I mean, it was risky to go into 3 or 6 without the glove, but it worked out in the sense he got the items. He got both items out of Death Mountain. He got both items from New Kasuda, whereas I don't think Jam ever went back for the 7 magic container item.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, again, like, he hasn't played this bad. It's just, I mean, other than maybe not being able to find Bagu, a screen and a half south to start, but outside of that, there's nothing that he has done wrong. It's just a matter of he didn't find the right cave, and there's not a lot you can do about it. I mean, he did a fantastic job, as you were stating, of getting through 3 and 6, getting both items and finishing the bosses. It's not very likely that happens, but he did do it. And it just so happened that that's not where the glove was. Or the boots. I mean, because the boots were required as well in the seed.
Though they were kind of a pair, as it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, you had to walk by the water tile after getting the boots in order to get to level to Palace 2. I mean, it was just kind of one smooth motion, but either way, the requirement there is kind of nifty.
It looks like Larry is going to take this drop, so now that we're just focused on one stream, we can get a much more definitive answer of what the topography of this palace is. Yeah, here he's passing through the other drop destination that must be where that left-handed drop leads you. That we'll only hope Larry never discovers.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, this is the room with the jar and the statue.
Ah, you are correct. So he just
Which
looped.
This elevator is right after the bridge drop, if I'm correct. And yeah, this is the correct direction. There is another left he hasn't explored, past the ferry drop room, but we know that that is not what he needs. At least I'm pretty sure it's not what he needs. This path over here and taking the next elevator, I believe, is the path to Darklink.
That sounds correct.
And I'm going to guess that if you went left from this room, you discover the other drop that leads everywhere you don't want to be.
You could also say that this palace is quite the jam.
Okay, Larry debated about going left, but he ultimately settled on taking this drop, and he's going to be very happy he made the decision he did. Because if I had to guess, Larry would really prefer to just be done with this seed now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, props to him for finishing it out, for sure.
It takes a lot of grit to see you lost by quite a large chunk of time, and to have a seed where you just, none of the breaks went his way and still just carry on.
And we do have Dark Link for Larry. With an official SRL time of 1:44.24. Good game to both of our racers. I will see if Larry wants to join us for a quick interview or not. Good evening, Mr. Larry.
Everything's going wrong. Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good, sir. I mean, good game. Props to you for finishing it out.
Yeah, I had to walk it off a little bit. I had to go grab a drink and walk that off. But Jam played very well for that seed. I made a lot of mistakes, and it's the typical AngryLarry blow up when games really matter. I knew I had to look for Bagoo. went into every forest tile, didn't find Bagoo, and then AngryLarry kicks in where I'm like, what if this is the seed where I need to go through Death Mountain? And then I started going through Death Mountain.
Yeah. And it's a screen and a half south to start.
I asked Jam the same thing, and he wasn't sure. I guess it was just too early in the seed for him to remember. Did you see both ends of Parapa Cave?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I just missed the front end of it. Because neither of you took it, and the whole time I was just thinking, is it possible this just leads up here, and there was this easy answer they both missed?
One was by Death Mountain in that 3 cave area where the mountain was in the middle of the continent. And then the other one was in the west in the same starting area. Because I went in there and I said, all right, there's Fairy Cave. I'm like, no, you know what? I should check to see if this is Fairy Cave or Parappa. And I checked and it was the other one. And then I found it was Parappa. And then I found the other side of Fairy later, which I then took and then found the graveyard tile right in that same area as well.
Yeah. That was pretty tragic.
I mean, I knew it was probably going to lead there, but again, I was 100% sure it was Bagoo, and then I was trying to force myself for it to be other things because I couldn't find Bagu. And then 1-up A, I saw a forest tile as soon as I left North Castle, and I'm like, this is no. And then I went in, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I did the same thing in the Eastern Continent where I'm like, boots are required. So I went to 3, I went to 6, and I'm like, the boots, and then Death Mountain. But at the time I went to Death Mountain, Jam was already done. And I'm like, boots have to be in one of these 3 places. It's required. And then I saw the desert extension. I'm like, you know what? It's just like me to not go through here because I registered all the 4 connecting caves in the east. I knew they went nowhere. So that's why I arrived on boots were required. And then I just never went through that desert connection. And then there you go. Boots, right there. Boots are right there. Leads to the water tile for the glove. And, an hour and 30 minutes into the seed, I finally have them. Oh, well.
Yeah, I was wondering after a certain point whether you made the gambits into 3 and 6 without the glove, just knowing that after the Bagu misadventure, after just how long it was taking you to find the glove, if you decided you had to take a chance to put yourself back in the race, or if it was just all you figured you had left to check.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a gamble. It was just in my mind, boots were 100% required, and now I needed to go to the places that were available to me to find them. And it turns out boots were required 100%, but for the wrong reasons. I thought it was blocking, both the palaces and maybe the P-bag cave for the glove. It's just I missed that part of the Eastern Continent, but I went looking for him, and that's why I went into there without the glove.
Yeah, it was something to watch because Jam definitely, both you and Jam had quite a lot of trouble escaping the starting area, but you much more so than he did. He opened up a pretty good lead there, and like in the Eastern Continent section of the game, you weren't finding items slower than him. You checked a lot of items he didn't, and none of them helped you. So that was just kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it was overworld exploration that got me this time, and then the not finding the stuff I needed to find the overworld that I knew I needed because I was vocally even saying it on my channel. Like, I'm looking for this. And then I didn't find it. Then it's like, all right, well, I'm looking for this, and this is not available. So it's got to be, I got to go through Death Mountain, I guess, to get to the other side of this continent. I've got to go back to 3 or 6 to get the boots. And it was a lot of that where it was just, I just flat out missed it.
Yeah, I mean, I would not definitely say that you played poorly at all. It's just what I guess would be the luck of the randomizer. You played very well. It's just you just didn't find that cave, and that's what mattered.
Yeah, I mean, that's on me for not scrolling the screen over that side and for not checking it as an available option. Because whenever I see that desert, it's like synonymous with my channel. Like whenever I see that desert, it's like I want to avoid it at all costs because I don't like the encounters. I don't like the time it takes to go through it. And then arrive on the other side. It's so close to the coast that what are the chances something might be there anyway? And then I just put it out of sight, out of mind. And there we have it. I don't know. I don't think I would have won anyway, even if I did find it early because I made that huge mistake really early on with Bagu. But that definitely legitimate comment lost 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it would have been very close.
Definitely not wrong about that. But your thinking isn't completely wrong in the sense early on you didn't check the forest tiles because they waste time. Bagu is almost never required.
No, I went into
the desert tile that desert path usually is a big waste of time.
Yeah, I went into all the forest tiles. That was the thing. Except for that one right by start where I just assumed I went in because I was banging in them early. And I got the 100-point P-bag and everything. I was like, all right, let's get some P-bags. And then, Bagu required, let's check all the forest tiles. And then I just missed the one.
You really started exploring those forest tiles more aggressively after you'd crossed the river. But of course, that was long after you found GP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just assume it was, I found GP. Okay, well, and then it's just one of those deals where you find something super important and perhaps everything else on the screen doesn't matter at that time and you forget about it.
Yeah, and then again, my mind works in a sense that I'm forcing these completion, I'm forcing the solving of the puzzle, like Death Mountain being something I have to go through and stuff like that.
Did we ever see the other entrance to Death Mountain?
Yes, it led nowhere. Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard that. Something went off on my computer. Yeah, it led to an area of Death Mountain that was inaccessible to anything else. It was like 5 road tiles, and that was about it.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah.
Almost as harsh as that path the hammer opened up to a dead end.
Oh, did it really? Because I didn't try that. Jam did that?
Yeah, because what Jam did, really the only navigational mistake Jam made the whole seed, he was also a little slower in GP, but not that much slower, was he lost GP's location, and he tried to take that path looking for where it was, and discovered a pretty amusing dead end built into the world.
Yes.
That was in the uppermost part of the continent, and I saw that going down. I'm like, well, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, that's the path that led down that I was blocked from. But now that I think about it, that middle path north of the bridge had a mountain the whole way across. There was no way to get through it, so I guess it had to be a dead end. Yeah. And listen, I'm like a little bit upset, like because I played pretty poorly. But how can you be mad when you lose to a guy who's sexier than you? You know?
Oh man.
Go on.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm not like, you know, buttering you up or anything. But damn, like, you know, props to you.
Yeah, thanks, Lair Bear. Yeah,
No problem.
We definitely had a good match. I was seeing you lurking in my stream all day trying to get some intel, so I played like crap during those.
I was
Sandbag.
taking
Yeah,
I was taking notes. I'm like puts on BRB screen every time seed is over. Like I took notes. Don't worry about it.
How to better my stream.
Yeah, no, everything like bees and stuff. I got to research these bees things because that's the
everywhere.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Just don't dig too deep. You never know what you're gonna find. But yeah, great game, man. Awesome.
You too, man. Good luck to you.
Definitely, if you want to meet up for some from Auntie Annie and pretzels, it's the Smith Haven Mall. You let me know the date and time.
Can we eat them in front of Forever 21?
That's the only place to eat them, right?
Okay. No, because there's a
Yeah.
bench there.
Yeah.
I am the details. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. Good luck to you, Jam, and
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
No problem.
I'm going to go ahead and host twitch.tv/DigShake. That is where the next match between Jake Hoper and Shiner Triple C is going to go down. So go ahead and head over there. Check out that match. Thank you all so very much for tuning in tonight. We'll have some more matches tomorrow. I'm sure they'll recap that after the next match. Thank you again to Amazing Ambrose for stepping in and helping me with commentary. Very much appreciated.
Not a problem. I'm glad to be able to help out. It was a very interesting race we got to watch unfold, and I look forward to seeing what both these guys do in the rest of the tournament.